I think when I was a kid and I read the Archie Comics and the double digest and stuff, like from the supermarket, I just really wanted to be friends with Archie, Betty, Veronica, and Jughead. It felt like a nice place, a benign place. I wanted to go to Riverdale High, and I never quite outgrew that. I was always sort of attracted to the wholesomeness and the innocence. Ironically now, because Riverdale is not wholesome or safe, it's the most dangerous place you could go to high school. But I think it was aspirational. I wanted to be friends with those kids. It felt like nothing bad happened to them. It felt like everyone was their friend. So I think it was just that.
We get a new villain this season.
Yeah.
The Gargoyle King.
Yeah.
How is he different from the other big bads we've seen on the show?
Yeah. Well, it's he's sort of more of an urban legend, sort of more like the Slender Man. The Black Hood was a serial killer. Hiram is a mob boss, and this guy is sort of he's sort of like almost like the bad guy in a fairy tale or an urban legend or a suburban legend. We don't know if he's real. We don't know if it's someone in a suit or so there's a kind of a sense of myth about him, and he's a lot more dangerous.
How so?
So how does the new villain influence the tone of the show? Because it is different.
One of every year, we do a lot of crime and pulp and noir stuff on the show, which I really love. And it felt like season 1 we did a murder mystery, kind of a more traditional murder mystery, Who Killed Jason Blossom. In season 2 it felt like we did Zodiac in a Small Town. One of my favorite shows was recently, it's like now 5 or 6 years ago, was the first season of True Detective. I really loved it. It was sort of an occult murder. It felt like a ritualistic murder, and it had it wasn't a supernatural story, but it had kind of like the trappings of, and it around the edges it felt creepy and perverse and lurid. And I would say that that's kind of the vibe that this year's villain and murder mystery has. Sort of, and I love the idea of our teen detectives becoming true detectives this season.
What can you tease about Tony and Cheryl in this season?
Yeah, Tony and Cheryl are together. They're royalty at Riverdale High. There's no one better looking. There's no one cooler. They're in the Serpents, so we are gonna see them getting into trouble with the Serpents, because of the Serpents, against the Serpents, outside of the Serpents. But we're also just gonna enjoy them being a power couple and sort of chic and fabulous.
I'm from Brazil, and Archie Comics are not popular in Brazil, are too American. I don't know, in Riverdale in Brazil is kind of huge.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this. How do you explain this popularity, I think, in other countries? Talking about comics that are not very well known abroad.
It's funny. I'm surprised to hear that because, originally I'm from, my family's from Central America, from Nicaragua. And when I was a kid, I lived there, and I remember reading the Archie Comics in Spanish. And Jughead was Torombolo. I remember. So I do feel like they're worldwide. My explanation for why, the cast. I mean, the cast is so amazing. They're so good. They're so appealing. And whether Archie, Betty, and Veronica, the characters are very archetypes.
Yeah.
So I think people, even if they don't know the characters, they know the girl next door, they know the rich girl, they know the all-American boy. They have these ideas. So I think that, but really, it's the cast. I think. I watch shows because of the actors on the shows, and I think people want to spend time with this cast. Yeah.
I know you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So we have the flashback episode this season. Are there any other kind of special episodes coming up that you could tease, like a musical episode again?
Yeah, we're gonna try to do another musical episode, but really, Carrie was the perfect musical at the perfect point in the season. and it had real resonance because it was a high school show. So and it was special. So we want to do a musical. We're talking about possible musicals, but it has to be the right. We're not going to just do it to just do it because that's never good. We're doing episode 7 is like episode 7 last year. It's 3 short stories that kind of interlock the way that Tales from the Dark Side interlocked last year. And then episode 5 has a really strong concept about, but I don't think I can spoil it. But there are special episodes coming up.
I know you can't tell us which character dies, but can you talk a little bit about what went into that decision and how it's going to affect the rest of it?
Yeah, it's kind of the saddest part of doing a show that is a crime show and stuff is that characters sometimes die. It's a bummer. One thing. We have endless discussions in the writers' room. Sometimes it happens that an actor says, you know what, I can only commit to a certain amount, or I can't do this, or so sometimes that makes it easier to decide because it's like okay. But we always want it to be we don't want the death to be meaningless, and we always want it to affect as many people as possible, hopefully in ways that generate story and good story.
Speaking of the flashback episode, where did the idea for that come from? Has it been something that you've wanted to do for a while?
Yeah, we've talked about it we've been talking about it since season 1, and various people take credit for it. Like Lily really wanted to do it. Then one of our executive producers, a woman named Sarah Schechter, really wanted to do. She's a huge fanatic of the John Hughes films and always wanted to do that. I didn't always necessarily want to do a flashback, but I always wanted to do an episode like The Breakfast Club set in detention, which is kind of what the flashback episode is. And again, it was the right time, and it's a beautiful episode. It's really wonderful, I think.
Last question, guys.
Can you tease anything about Chick's return?
He's out there. He's out there. We haven't seen his body, so that usually means that they're alive. Not always. And I also loved Hart. I thought Hart did great. So hopefully we'll see him before the season's out.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your show.